message. It was dropped on my desk, and it's a beautiful little message. Regional and North Queensland household insurance specialist, Sure Insurance, has been recognised as one of Australia's fastest growing companies in the 2022 Australian Financial Review's Fast Starters list. The reason why it's particularly satisfying to me is a gentleman by the name of Bradley Heath, when they first said, we're going to get this off the ground, we've got a great idea because people in North Queensland are suffering, they're getting gouged, they're being charged far too much for their insurance. Who did he approach as the first media outlet to talk about these matters was this little radio station. So I take some great pleasure out of reading this. It goes on to say the prestigious annual AFR Fast Starters list recognises the growth of Australian standalone companies which started trading on or after 1st July 2017. And the list is ranked by compound annual growth rate of revenue over the past 3 financial years, majority of growth required to be generated organically and from more than one customer. 2 points here. Firstly, the savings have been really substantial, and the advertising campaigns are so entertaining when Brad records people when they first get their quote and they say, "Are you kidding me?" And there's about 100 of others that are similar in their response, so they're very entertaining as well. No wonder they bloody work. Anyway, I've got Managing Director Sure Insurance on the line, Bradley Heath. Bradley, good morning and congratulations.
Good morning, John. Thanks for that. Good intro. But I really appreciate that.
But isn't it a good story? I remember day one when you came into the studio. I thought, this is going to be a challenge. Why is you going to be successful? And as soon as you outlined it 3 minutes later, I thought this is going to explode. And it did. I mean, the fact that you recorded people's response about when they realised how much money they're going to save, the fact that you recorded the genuine product and put it to air was genius.
Yeah, look, John, it was a great idea from our marketing team, and we've really got to give them a lot of recognition. They're a little Brisbane marketing group called Brother & Co. They're the architects of all of this, and they're just smart guys who understand the business. And one of them's a North Queenslander, but we have to we're required to record sales calls, with people. And what we said to the staff was, well, if you get a really good call, someone who's really excited, just let us know. Well, next thing you know, we're getting many calls put to us. And, of course, then we talk to the customer, and most customers are really happy to have their... And so it was just a really interesting process because it's real. They're not actors, and the same with their TV ads. They're not actors. They're not even scripted. We don't tell them what to say. They say what they want to say. We never tell people what to say. And so I think people are hearing the real Sure through these advertising campaigns, and this is what the Sure was always about. It's just a normal company doing the right thing by people in regional Queensland. It was no more complex than that.
My favourite is, "Are you kidding me?" What's your favourite?
Yeah, look, I like that one. That probably is my favourite too because it's such a surprise, but we hear them daily now, and I can walk through the office and our salesperson will say, "Hey, I just had someone on the phone that wants to thank you for doing this," and God, that feels good. Like it feels good that because at the end of the day, John, insurance is really a business about helping people in difficult situations, and that's all we do. At the end of the day, we work out a premium, we pay claims. It's not rocket science, but I think it's been made rocket science by some of our competitors, and we've got more than 50,000 households insured now. Yeah. That's a lot of dwellings, and the way we're going, that's going to be a lot more soon. I think we're starting to close in on savings of about $100 million for people in regional Queensland over 3.5 years, and that's money that goes back into the economy, and people get use it for their school fees or whatever they use it for.
Exactly, I know, because I've had so many people tell me about the arrival of Sure in our market and the early days hearing about you talking about it. And it's funny, the ads that you remember like that one and various others of Sure Insurance that I picked up on television particularly. But there was one years ago, remember Not Happy Jan? I mean, that became a classic. People quoted Not Happy Jan for years. There's another one of yours where you're standing in front of the camera and talking away and preaching to the converted, which is all of us. And suddenly people are cheering on a balcony and you look back over your shoulder and I thought, that's got to have been rehearsed 100 times. But how many times did you have to rehearse it, or was it fair income?
I think it was fair income, but I think I think we did that take about 15 times because every time we tried to do it, a car would go past or a motorcycle, and I'm standing there in the sun thinking, oh God, I'm not cut out for this. It was you're going to stand in the shade. But look, I think the recognition on this, we're the biggest insurance operation in the top 100 in the AFR list, and I think the great thing is that the people that have made that happen are the team at Shaw, the people that have worked from day one, worked bloody hard, and it's all of our customers as well, and all the people outside Shaw. So there's a lot of people that have made this happen, not the least, as I say, of our customers who have shown faith and then kept renewing with us and telling their friends. And this is where we're getting so much of our business from word of mouth. And so we're just really pleased what we've been able to achieve. And, we just want to keep going and just keep doing the same thing we're doing and just get more market share. We're about the third biggest now, we think, behind a couple of others. And, we want to get bigger and provide that service.
Now, don't let any of your telephonists leave. They're one of your huge secrets. What happens when you ring? And I asked for the same one now. She's like a best friend. And she's happy for you to do that. She said, always after me, oh, no, I know your first name, I know your deal, and it's almost off by heart. And they make such a difference. How do you attract staff like that?
Well, I think it comes down to people. Look, most people that work in insurance companies want to do the right thing. And what we've tried to do is give people a working environment that's not like some of the big multinationals. Big multinationals, they're measuring people 32 different ways and, getting them into trouble if their call links are 2 seconds too more. We don't do stuff like that. We just do old-fashioned service, and the sales come from service. And when we make sure our staff are given the right policy, they only sell one product, they don't have to know about 50 products. We're flexible with the workplace. We've got 20% of our staff now, John, are in the regional areas and work from home. And we want to give people that opportunity. And if anyone wants to work for Shaw, just contact us on the website. We're looking for people left, right and centre. The more we can get, the better. So our staff have been key in this because they've signed on to the Shaw Insurance but Fair idea, and they just love it. And it's the same with our claims staff. They love sorting the claims out. Believe it or not, insurance companies, and we're particularly in this case, we don't mind paying claims. That's what we're here for. We don't pay any claims. We're not going to have a business.
No.
And paying claims is what is helping people on it ultimately. And as I said to my young daughter many years ago, what's insurance about? It's about helping people, and that's what she remembered. And that's all we do. We just help people.
Now, this is the last question promised, because I get asked this all the time. They said, when you're talking to Brad Heath, can you ask him when you're going to be expanding to embrace the bigger blocks of apartments around Cairns? Obviously, there's been some improvements in the last 12 months, but still you've got to knock some back because they're too big. How are we travelling in that regard?
We do, John. Look, I know I say this to you every time, we're much closer. Believe it or not, I've spent all day yesterday finishing a business proposal to some backers that we've talked to. I recently did a trip to speak to backers overseas. There's a lot of interest in Shaw, and there's a couple of companies we've spoken to in Sydney that have got the ability to back us. We're pushing hard on that now, and there's some other announcements in the new year that I think will even be good, better news for people in regional Queensland. So stay tuned for that. And all of these things together put us in a position where we can ride bigger and better properties.
So body corporate members need to consent you to get a quote off you, even though the very big ones you won't be able to accommodate.
Right this minute we can't, but in the new year we're as keen as mustard on this. Look, if we could do it now, if we could get the direct backing now, and things like Hurricane Ian in the US has made the world market a difficult place, but there's some changes we're making that are going to really put us in the position where we will be much closer and have a greater ability to ride those bigger places. So stay tuned. We're working hard on it. Bluntly, it's in our interest, it's in our customers' interest, it's in everyone's interest.
New Year's only 3 weeks away, so we'll talk soon, Brad.
We will.
Good to talk to you. Merry Christmas. Have a great year.
And Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and have a safe one, and let's hope the storms stay away.
Yeah, it's a good story. Brad Heath there, Managing Director, Sure Insurance. one of our fastest growing companies.